Hello and welcome to another episode of the Bubbs on Sports podcast. Today is Friday, November 4th. Hope everybody's having a good day so far and a good rest of their day yesterday. It is, in fact, Friday, November 4th here today. It is week 9. It is a week 9 edition of the Football Friday podcast. Looking forward to it. Got a lot to get to today. Obviously, also coming off a night last night. Really just a wild day yesterday in the world of sports. Really a wild past couple days with the whole Kyrie Irving situation. The Nets suspend him, which had to be done. And I think, it's also, I think there's a real good possibility that the Nets, Kyrie may have played his last game as a Brooklyn Net. Now, do I think they're going to trade him? No, but, I wouldn't be shocked if, I don't know. It's just a wild situation. I think the Nets need to move on from him. I think the damage has been done. This isn't just the first time Kyrie Irving has caused issues off the court. There's been many other instances where Kyrie has missed time not due to injury because of something off the court, and that's a problem. And that's a serious problem not only for him, but for the Nets, a team that's looking to win. And when you got one of your better players missing time because of dumb decisions and, not, really thinking much and, hurting other people and having to be suspended now, which is the right thing to do after the quotes and after the things that, he posted online. It's really a bad situation. So he gets suspended. You then had hockey and baseball on last night. Astros get the no-hitter on Wednesday. They win yesterday, or they win again yesterday. So if they win tomorrow, they're the champions. And about the worst possible case scenario for Philly took place yesterday, or took place on Wednesday and Thursday, where you win on Tuesday, and that was great, right? And that was exactly what you wanted. You win Tuesday, you're up 2-1. All you had to do was find a way to win one of the next two games and go back to Houston with a 3-2 series lead, and they ended up losing the next two, and now they're down 3-2, going back to Houston, where Houston's got to find a way to win one game in their home building, and you got two tries to do it. So the series now is officially shifted into Houston's favor. The Phillies split games 1 and 2. They won game 3. Games 4 and 5, they fell right on their face. And now your backs are against the wall. You got to win Game 6 in Houston, and you got to win a Game 7 in Houston. And, Washington Nationals were able to do it. So it's not impossible, but it's not going to be easy. So we'll see how it all plays out. So that will be tomorrow night. Rangers lost as well last night. Just a frustrating performance defensively. Trouba didn't play very well. It just wasn't good. It wasn't really good. It was just, not much scoring. Veazey and Fox scored, but Fox had a real nice wrister. It just the Rangers right now they're very inconsistent right now, and they're having nights where they can't score, and then they're like a night against Philly where they couldn't score, but they found a way to win. And then there's nights like last night where they got a little bit of offense, but then their defense just can't defend. Like it's frustrating. Other teams' forechecks are a lot better, and not much rhythm last night between that Rangers Bruins game. So a tough loss for them. They'll look to bounce back tomorrow when they face, Sunday when they face up against the Red Wings. They'll look to bounce back at home. Nets tonight against the Wizards on the road. So all the drama. We'll see if the Nets can find a way to get their third win. If they keep losing games, they're going to get their season buried. And we're not even going to be talking about championships at the deadline. We're going to be talking about who are the Nets going to trade. So Nets got to turn around fast because this season is getting out of hand early. So with all that being said, you know the drill. It is a Football Friday podcast. We'll get to the Jets. Giants are on a bye week, so obviously only the one New York team. Well, both New York teams are playing technically this week against each other, if you obviously with the Buffalo Bills up in Buffalo. But the New York Giants are on a bye week, but we'll get to the rest of the NFL. We'll get to the Jets-Bills game, all that good stuff. You know the drill. We'll also get to the fantasy football preview. I will get you ready, give you the best advice I can for any possible roster decisions you may have. I'll give you my advice, my thoughts, what I'm doing, and I'll share it out to you guys. And as always, if you comment in the comment sections down below any of your questions, I will try to get back to you as quickly as I can, and give you my advice and what I think about certain things. Love interacting with everybody, so if you want to do that, you can. We'll also finish off with the New York Sports Update as always. Nets tonight against the Wizards, Knicks tonight against the Sixers, As for the NHL, Islanders and Rangers both have the night off tonight. All right, so with all that being said, this is the Bubbs on Sports podcast, and let's get right into it. Also, just thought about this too. Phillies Astros tonight, day off. So a big more basketball on tonight in the New York sports area. Both hockey teams off. Phillies Astros day off. They'll be back tomorrow. So not a ton going on this Friday night. Got a couple games here and there. Also a couple college football games as well. So good amount to look forward to this weekend. All right, so with all that being said, let's get into this here. Got a lot to get into here with the NFL. It is Week 9. Can't believe I'm saying that. It is already Week 9 of the 2022 NFL season. Last night, the Eagles got the win over the Houston Texans 28-17. I'll give a little bit of credit to Houston. They made things interesting. It was 14-14 at half, and then Philly kind of just came out and was just a better team in the second half. They open up the third quarter with a touchdown. They then kick a field, get the extra point, and then they go into the fourth quarter. They score and get the 2-point conversion and all that stuff. So when you outscore your opponent 15-3 in the second half, you're gonna have recipes for success. So the Eagles get to 8-0. And they will now look to go 9-0 next week against the Washington Commanders at home. So that should be an interesting matchup. I got last night's pick correct, so I am 1-0 this week to open things up. And with last night being a correct pick, I am now 75-48 overall and 8-1 on my Thursday night game pick. So I know you could say, they've been easy games to pick, but I am still pretty proud of being 8-1 on the Thursday night picks this year. I've done a pretty good job, in my opinion, of picking the games that have had a high success rate on Thursday Night Football, albeit the games haven't been great, but the picks have been pretty good. So, a lot to look forward to here. We're going to get right into it. We'll start off with the Chargers-Falcons. Chargers 4-3, Falcons 4-4. Chargers are a 3-point favorite coming into this game. Falcons, obviously, are the home dogs. Over-under set at 49.5, 1 Eastern on Fox. And I'll tell you what, if you would have told me at the beginning of the season there would be a first-place team coming into the matchup, I would have thought it was the Chargers. Well, it's not. The Falcons are the first-place team in the NFC South. Falcons are 4-4, Bucks are 3-5, Saints are 3-5, and the Panthers are 3-6. So the Falcons right now, if the season would end right now, Falcons would be in the would win the NFC South, and the Chargers would finish second in the AFC West. That's where we currently stand. So a very interesting matchup on paper. I'm going to take LA here. I'm going to take the Chargers. I know there's been struggles. Austin Eckler obviously, will be back in action. You know that Keenan Allen is still out. I'm still going to take the Chargers here. I'm not a huge fan of the Falcons' defense. I think the Chargers win this game, but I don't think it's going to be incredibly a big score. I don't think this is going to be a 20-point victory because I do truly believe that the Falcons are seriously missing, specifically Justin Herbert is missing Keenan Allen. He's out again. It looks like he'll be out again this week with an injury. What is that? I think like 4 straight weeks now. He thought he could return after the bye. That hasn't been the case, and he's gonna be out. So. He may have. Did he play last week? But it was on the pitch count. I think he might have been. I don't know. He's been hurt, and for fantasy, it's been tough because I've had to work around it. But he's out again, so they're going to be shorthanded again. I'm going to take the Chargers on the road. I think they're just a little bit more talented. I also think their defense isn't very good, and I like the Chargers here. They're just, I think, again, a little bit of the better team. I'm going to take the Chargers. Not a big score though. Give me the Chargers close. 27-23, Chargers win. They just cover the 3 points, but it's a close game. Give me the Chargers. I'll take the over on the over-under of 49.5, and I'll think the Chargers plus. I'll take the Chargers and the points, but I think they just cover. Give me the Chargers. Game number 2 here, we got the Colts and the Patriots. Patriots are 4-4, Colts are 3-4-1. Patriots are 6-point favorites. The over-under is set at 40.5. 1 Eastern on CBS on Sunday. Patriots coming off a win at MetLife last week against the Jets, picking off Zach Wilson 3 times. They'll look to carry some of that momentum into this game. Look, the Colts are a mess, and I know last week they were competitive against Washington. Sam Ehlinger is going to be at quarterback, but New England's back home. It's possible they found a little bit of success with last week's win. It's possible they may have gotten onto another little bit of a win streak here. Look, Patriots at home, Bill Belichick. The Colts have Sam Ehlinger. They've got issues. Jonathan Taylor's out. They just traded Nyheim Hines to the Bills. I mean, they got problems. They got issues. They don't have much talent. Patriots are just the better team. They're at home. Give me New England. It's going to be an extremely low-scoring game because I don't think the quarterback play is going to be particularly good on either side of the ball, plus all the injuries with Indy. Give me the Patriots rather at home. I'll take Bill Belichick and Mac Jones to get to a 2-game win streak here and get above 500 on the 2022 season. I'm going to take New England. Again, low-scoring game, 20-10 New England wins. I'll take the under on the over-under 40.5, and then New England gets the win at home and they cover the 6 points. Next up, we got the Dolphins and the Bears. Dolphins 5-3, Bears 3-5. Dolphins are 4-point favorites. Over-under set at 45.5. I'm going to take Miami. Look, the Bears have been a very, very weird team this year. They've beaten some really good teams. They've came close to some really good teams. They've just been a very odd team, and they've had some really, they obviously beat San Francisco. They were able to beat New England on the road on Monday night, which I don't think many people saw coming. They were competitive against the Vikings. They obviously blew that game. They were able to beat Houston. They were competitive against the Commanders, albeit, it was low score, but it was close. Been a very weird team this year. And all their wins this season have come at home except one. So they've actually been a little bit more successful this year at home. You do get the Dolphins in this home game, but I just think the Dolphins are the more talented team. Look, Tua's been playing phenomenal. He's been playing much better, and I got to give credit to him. He's been playing a lot better than what he was even earlier in the year. And, as much as I crushed Tua this offseason, he's proving to everybody that he can throw the deep ball. He's proven everybody that him and Tyreek Hill are on the same page. They went out and made a couple of big trade deadline moves, bringing in Jeff Wilson, bringing in Bradley Chubb, and obviously with Bradley Chubb's extent, with him signing there, they all are trading for him. They also extended him, so they go all out for him. They did have to give up Chase Edmonds, but they brought him in. And I don't know if he'll play this week. I'm not 100% sure on that. But if he does, it's just going to be another problem for the Bears. Again, more talent. Who's got more talent? They're out on the road. It's just the Bears had a very odd trade deadline. Their defense got worse. But Dolphins' defense got better. Their team got better. Give me Miami on the road to get to their 6-3, to get to 6 wins on the season. I'm going to take the Dolphins on the road. Give me Miami. 30, and I'll go 28-20, Dolphins win. I'll think they cover the 4, and I'll think the Dolphins, and I'll take the over on the over-under 45.5. Give me Miami and covering the points. Next up, we got the Packers and the Lions. Packers are 3-5. Lions are 1-6. Almost a must-win this is a must-win for the Packers. For the Lions, look, you're 1-6. If you win this game, it doesn't mean a ton. The Packers are 3.5-point favorites. Over-under set at 50. 1 Eastern on Fox. Look, I'm going to take Green Bay, and I'm not going to go into this much detail. I'm going to take Green Bay. I think it's going to be a shootout. I really do. But again, Rodgers has had Detroit's number. Detroit's defense is terrible. They can't hold on to leads. They blew another lead last week. The amount of games that they blow week in and week out, it's embarrassing. It's bad. Their defense is terrible. I think this is I'm going to label this as a get-right game for the Packers. This is a get-right game. This has to be a win. This has to be a win. You can't go into Detroit and lose to the Lions, and especially if the Lions' defense shuts you down. Then you got serious problems. I'm going to take Green Bay. They're on a 4-game losing streak. They're frustrated. They're coming off of a whooping against Buffalo on Sunday Night Football. They need to get back on the right track. This is the perfect opportunity against a really bad defense in Detroit. Give me the Packers 31-14. I'll take the under on the over-under 50. I think the Packers cover the 3.5 pretty easily. I think it might be relatively close early on. I could see Detroit coming out with a little bit of extra added energy, but I think the Packers are going to break away. Next up, we got the Bengals and the Panthers. Bengals 4-4, Panthers 2-6. 7.5-point favorites is Cincinnati. Over/under set at 42.5. This is a big game for the Bengals, coming off of a really, really bad performance on Monday Night Football against Cleveland, against their division rival. 32-13 final score. Losing by 19 was really, really bad. Really bad performance. And, Burrow had no time in the pocket, was getting sacked all over the place, and it was pretty embarrassing. And you can make the argument that was kind of their worst performance of the season. I think this is also a game where they're going to come out, they're going to be angry, they're going to be frustrated. They got embarrassed against Cleveland, they got embarrassed on the road. It's Carolina. They're not very good. them, and they've got P.J. Walker. They're just not a good team. Cincinnati's back at home. They realize the magnitude of this game. You lose this game, you're back below 500. I like Cincinnati in this matchup. They also have a big division game coming up. They also going into a bye week after this. So you get the win going into the bye. You feel a little bit better about yourself, although it's been kind of a little bit of a rocky start to the year. But give me the Bengals. Get right game against Carolina. I'll take the Bengals 31-13. I'll take the under on the over on the over-under of 42.5, and then the Bengals cover the touchdown and a half at 7.5. All right, next up we got the Raiders and the Jaguars. Raiders 2-5, Jaguars 2-6. 1 Eastern on CBS. Raiders 2-point favorites. Jaguars are the home dogs. Over/under set at 48. This is about as much of a win of a game for both these teams. I mean, if you're the Raiders and you lose this game, you're 2-6. Your season's basically over. And if you're the Jaguars and you win this game, look, 3-6 isn't ideal. But you get a win against a talented roster. Although their record isn't good, you can't deny that the Raiders have talent. They have talent. The coaching, Josh McDaniels, they might not have the coach, but they got the talent. I mean, they got Devontae Adams, they got Josh Jacobs, they got Derek Carr, who's a fine quarterback, and they've also got a defense that's pretty good. I mean, last week they couldn't score on offense, but they have talent. It's all about the coaching and stuff like that. I mean, their coaching's been awful, and I think Josh McDaniels been a big issue. And, we'll see if they can get Darren Waller back this week. It definitely looks like it's a realistic possibility. I'm going to take the Raiders here. Again, similar to the last 3 games. Packers, they feel this. This is a must-win for them. The Bengals coming off an embarrassing performance on Monday Night Football against a team that they should beat up on. They're going to come out firing. And the same thing here goes for the Raiders. They're coming off a performance where it took them, 3.5 quarters to get past the 50-yard line. They didn't score. They got shut out against a Saints team that they could have beat. So they're clearly frustrated. They're going up against a Jaguars team that is with a young quarterback that's going through growing pains. I like the Raiders here. I mean, I know I keep picking them, and I know they keep losing, but I just get this feeling that they're just going to have this kind of breakout game. They're too good not to. So give me the Raiders on the road, a must-win game for them. They're going to recognize that, and I think they're going to take advantage. And also, again, go back to talent. Who's more talented? Jaguars, Raiders. I like the Raiders here. Get their 3rd win of the season. Keep their season alive. It's ugly. 3-5 is not where you want to be, but it's a whole lot better than 2-6 and coming off a road loss against Jacksonville. Give me the Raiders on the road. I'll take them 24-20. Raiders win. Cover the 2. Under on the over-under 48. Raiders get the win on the road. Next up here, final 1 o'clock game. Vikings-Commanders. Vikings are 6-1. Commanders are 4-4. Vikings 3-point favorites. The over-under set at 43.5. So another home dog. A lot of home dogs this weekend. A lot of them. Falcons home underdog. Bears home underdog. Lions home underdog. Jaguars home underdog. Commanders home underdog. A lot of home dogs. The Jets are a home dog. A lot of them. You go to Monday night, too. Saints are a home dog. So road favorites this week is the story of the week when you're looking at the betting spreads. This is an interesting game. This is a really interesting game. And the Vikings got to watch out. Because you go on the road to a Commanders team. This has trap game written all over it if you're the Vikings. They're 6-1. They're coming off of a very big win against the Cardinals. And they're flying high right now. But this has trap game written all over it because you want to know why? After this week, you got to go to Buffalo on the road. And after that, then you welcome in Dallas. And you welcome in Dak Prescott and the Cowboys team right now that is playing very well, 6-2, and second in the NFC East, only behind the only undefeated team in football in the Philadelphia Eagles at 8-0. And you're going into a game against a Commanders team that has looked, there's no other way to put it. They've looked 10 times better with Taylor Heineke at quarterback than when Carson Wentz was the signal caller for the first couple weeks of the season before he got hurt. And to be honest with you, even when Carson Wentz is ready to come back, which I don't know fully when that will be, I think it was a 4 to 6 week injury, I think. So it's been like 3 weeks about, right? Or 3 weeks? I don't know. It's been long. Well, right, because I think it's been 2 weeks because they beat Green Bay and then they beat Indy. So, and it's Taylor Heineke and it's a Washington team, and you're on the road. But the reason this has trap game written all over it, because the Commanders, on paper, you look at this game and you say, man, the Vikings should smoke this team. But the Commanders look like a completely different team at 4-4. And oh yeah, Vikings next week, you got a matchup against the Bills where that could be the game, that very well up to this point, very well could be the game of the year between, if you win this game, it's a 7-1 Vikings team, and if the Bills win, it's a 7-1 Bills team. So this has trap game written all over, and you're going to learn a lot about this Vikings team in terms of coaching, because you get the opportunity here, you get a big win here, you're flying high into that Bills game. You lose this game, it takes a lot of energy out of a team going into a game next week against the Bills where you know it's going to be tough. It's on the road. So I'm going to take Minnesota because I really believe in Minnesota that much. I really think they're a good team. I mean, we see they've got weapons all over the place. Also, they got TJ Hawkinson, obviously. I'm going to take Minnesota, but it's going to be close. I think this is going to be a close game because I think you might see Minnesota looking ahead a little bit to that big game next week against Buffalo. I'm going to take the Vikings, but I close. And also, credit to Taylor Heineke and the Commanders. They are a different team. They really are. He's spreading the ball around a little bit. Their offense is flowing a little bit more. They're a much better team than when Carson Wentz at quarterback. So you got to give credit to them, too. They can make some plays. I'm going to take the Vikings 24-21. I think they just cover the 3. With a 3-point victory. I think a late kick wins it. Give me Minnesota, and they go into that Buffalo game next week at 7-1. I'm going to take the Vikings 24-21. I'll take the over on the over-under 43.5. Give me the Vikings on the road with a close win against Taylor Heineke and the Washington Commanders. All right, now we go to the 4 o'clock window. We got the Seahawks and the Cardinals. Cardinals 3-5. Seahawks are 5-3. Cardinals 2-point favorites, over-under set at 49.5, 4:05 on Fox. Riding high after a big win last week against the Giants. And as for the Cardinals, they're coming off a tough loss against the Vikings. Look, this is a big game for this Vikings team. And also, same thing for the Cardinals is a big game. Because after this, the Cardinals got a tough schedule coming up. They're going to have the Rams on the road, who obviously been struggling, but it's still the Rams. You know, it's still a tough team. Then you got the Niners, and then you got the Chargers. And you probably would assume by that point you play the Chargers week 12, they're going to be a whole lot healthier than they are right now. And you're going to see a lot more elevated play from Herbert than you see right now. So I'm going to take, I think the Cardinals are going to come out this game, and I think they're going to realize the magnitude of it. Because if you fall this game and you get to 3-6, well, now you got to find a way to win 2 of your next 3. And that might include having to beat San Francisco and the Chargers. You win this game and you get to 4-5. Well, if you could find a way to come out of that Chargers game, those Chargers games, and the Niners and the Rams game, at least one game below 500, going into your bye week, you come out of the bye week with New England, who's beatable. Then you get Denver, who's beatable. Then you get the Bucks and the Falcons. Those are 4 very beatable teams. So I think, and you're probably 2 toughest opponents out of those is probably Patriots and the Bucks, and you get those 2 games at home. And I know they struggle at home, but still, it's at home. Right? So this is how big this game is. And again, there's a big difference between 4-5 and 3-6. And also for a Seahawks team in division, they keep gaining ground in the division. Forget about the division, right? Then you got to fight for a wild card. So big game here. I'm going to take the Seahawks. I'm going to ride on the Geno Smith bandwagon. Last week, I hopped off of it, and I said the Giants would win, and Geno Smith proved me wrong. It was mostly Richie James forgetting how to catch a punt. But that's besides the point. Geno Smith, you hear guys, the team's really rallying around him. They're playing team football. Again, Cardinals have struggled at home this year. I mean, I know they got D-Hop involved, and I know they really look like a different offense. Geno Smith and this Seahawks team right now can look like they can beat just about anybody. So I'm going to take the Seahawks, I'm going to take Geno, and I'm going to take them on the road. Give me the Seahawks. 23-20. Get the win. Under on the over-under 49, and I'll take the Seahawks on the road. Seahawks +2 over the Cardinals. 2 more games here before we get to the Jets and the Bills. We got the Buccaneers and the Rams. Bucks are 3-5. Rams are 3-4. Buccaneers are 3-point favorites. The over-under set at 42.5, 4:25 p.m. Eastern on CBS. This is such an odd game. If you at the beginning of the season, if you would have told me the Buccaneers would be 3-5 and the Rams would be 3-4, combine these 2 teams would be 6-9, I would have thought you were crazy. And Tom Brady's having one of the worst seasons of his career, and he's running for his life every other play. And the fact that the Rams have looked awful, terrible. Now, Cooper Kupp does look like he'll be playing this week. You know how I feel about the Bucs. I think the Bucs are. I really think the Bucs are. Now, if Cooper Kupp wasn't playing this week, I probably would have said the Rams or the Bucs. But the fact that Cooper Kupp's playing, that helps the Rams. They're on the road, which might be able to help a little bit, kind of get away from LA, get away from the media for a little bit, and, play a Tampa team on the road where you can kind of rally together as a team. I mean, this is a huge game for both teams. This is massive for the Tampa because if Tampa loses this game, you're 3-6. It's almost impossible to come out of that hole. And, then you also have, games coming up where, you'll have the Seahawks after that, which is going to be tough. Then you have a bye week. Then you come out of your bye week, you have 2 games against the Browns and the Saints. Then it's Niners, Bengals, Cardinals. Those 3 games. So those are what? You lose those games. It's just a really big game. Again, don't even look at the rest of the schedule. You don't even have to look at that. 3-6 is 3-6. You fall to 3-6, it's ugly. It really is. So, and especially when you got a Seattle team waiting that's can look like they're beating just about everybody right now, and they're beating them in different ways. So I'm gonna take the Rams. I've hated what I've seen out of this Bucs team. I really have. The Rams haven't been good, but the thing I could tell you about the Rams is, I think a lot of it is it's a Super Bowl hangover, right? And I think they're similar to the Bengals. The Bengals are seeing the same thing. The Bengals' record's not as bad, but they're witnessing the same thing. They do not look like the team they were last year, nor do the Rams. And I think both the Rams and the Bengals still have the talent. They still have it. It's just a matter of, kind of getting out of that Super Bowl hangover and kind of, finding a stretch of games where you can make up some ground and get back to the way you were playing, if you follow what I'm saying. The Bucs, I just don't think they're really that good anymore. Tom Brady's not the same. The offensive line's terrible. You really wonder how much the guys are buying into whatever Todd Bowles is preaching. It's just not a good situation. So I'm going to take the Rams because I think their situation is a lot more fixable and something that you can trust for them to go on the road and win than the Bucs, because I think the Bucs, they're just purely not good. So I'm going to take the Rams, and I'm going to take them. It's going to be a close game. I think it's going to be relatively lower scoring. I'm going to take the Rams 27-21. I think they get the win. I'll take the under on the over-under, or over on the over-under 42.5. And I'll take the Rams +3 on the road. All right, so final game here, 8:20 p.m. Eastern on CBS. Chiefs, Titans. Chiefs 5-2. Titans 5-2. Chiefs are a big 12.5-point favorite. Over-under set at 46. I like Kansas City in this matchup. I mean, if Derrick Henry... Here's the big thing. If Derrick Henry rushes for 340 billion yards like he did last week against... Houston, then the Titans are winning this game. But, you really wonder just, again, Titans on the road. You kind of wonder what happens. Is Ryan Tannehill going to play? With him being questionable. I think the Titans just have too many question marks. With Ryan Tannehill being with him being questionable, then you'd have to give the load a lot to Derrick Henry. It's on the road. It's in Kansas City. I don't think this is going to be a blowout because I do think I like Tennessee's defense, and they're kind of a tough, gritty offense, but they find a way to score. I don't think they're going to win, but I'm not going to sit here and tell you that the Chiefs are going to cover. I don't think the Chiefs will cover. I do think they win, and I think they'll win by 10. I'm going to take the Chiefs 28. I'll take the Chiefs 27-17. I don't think they cover the 12.5. I think that's a lot. I also think, Chiefs are going to break away a little bit late because I think they're just more talented and they're at home. But I think the Titans keep this relatively close early on, but then the Chiefs start to break away late. Look, they're both 5-3, or 5-2 rather. Whether you like it or not, they're both 5-2. So, yeah, you might look at Tennessee and you might say, Tennessee's the old kind of used car that's still getting it done. Kansas City's the new flashy car. That's kind of the best way I could put it. That's why everybody's taking Kansas City in this game, and I'm going to take Kansas City because I do think they're more talented, but I don't think it's going to be a blowout. I don't, because I think Tennessee, yes, they're gritty. Yes, the way they do it's kind of ugly. That's the way Vrabel is, but they play a tough, gritty brand of football, and it works. They're 5-2, and they're not very talented, but they get the job done with what they got, and that's a sign of good coaching. So I think the Chiefs win here 27-17. I don't think they cover the 12.5, but I'll take the Chiefs. So Titans plus 12.5, but Chiefs get they win. I'll take the over on the over-under of 46, or under on the over-under of 46, and then Chiefs get the win at home. So those are my picks. Falcons, Patriots, Chargers, Patriots, Dolphins, Packers, Bengals, Raiders, Vikings, Seahawks, Rams, Chiefs. And then Monday night, I'll give you my pick. It's Ravens, Saints. Another big game there as well for both those teams. So now we move to the New York football, as it is the Buffalo Bills and the New York Jets. Giants obviously on a bye week, as I mentioned earlier. This is it's going to be a really, really, really interesting game for the New York Jets, because you're coming off of a brutal loss against New England where your quarterback threw 3 interceptions and showing a lot of signs of what he showed in his rookie year. Right now, the Bills are 11.5-point favorite. They're 11-point favorite. The over-under set at 46. Jets are 5-3. Bills are 6-1. 1 Eastern on CBS. This is obviously at MetLife Stadium. Bills, right now, according to Bleacher Report, 82% chance the Bills win this game. That's what people are saying. So 82% of people are taking the Bills in this game. It's going to be extremely tough for the Jets. There's no doubt about it. The Bills are as good as it gets. And obviously, they're a team that's, they're going to come out and they got a ton of talent. They're going to be aggressive on defense. They're going to do a lot. They can do a lot of things offensively. They have a quarterback that is, I think probably is the best quarterback, he is the best quarterback in football. He can run. He can take big hits. He can throw the ball deep. He's got weapons all around him. They only added weapons by Nyheim Hines. I don't know how much action he'll actually get, given that he just got traded. It's kind of like similar to a James Robinson situation, where James Robinson got traded Monday. He played a little bit last week, not a ton. I think you'll see him featured a little bit more this week. But the Bills are loaded with talent. Up and down the list. Dawson Knox, Gabe Davis, Stephon Diggs, Devin Singletary, who's an under-the-radar, pretty solid running back. That is a guy, he's a streaky player. He's very streaky. He'll have ups. He has a lot of ups and downs type games. He's not very consistent. But that's why you got to watch, because he's the guy that when he's on, he is very, very good. And he's very tough to stop because he's very quick. He's quick. He's elusive. He's a little inconsistent. He doesn't always do it. But when he's on his game, when they're feeding him the ball consistently, he can do some damage. So you got to watch out for him, let alone watch out for the 2-star receivers in Gabe Davis and obviously Stephon Diggs, one of the best in the league. You really look at this Bills team and you say to yourself, they've got the best quarterback in football, and they've easily got a top 2 receiver in football. You can make the argument he's the best. Justin Jefferson, obviously Diggs, D-Hop when he's playing consistently. Devontae Adams is up there. All those guys. I'd probably say Diggs is the best. So that's how good they are. And you go to their defense, and I know Von Miller looks like he'll be good to go. Matt Milano's obviously going to be questionable, but he's a guy. Poyer's out, so it looks like maybe Dean Marlowe or he'll come in, who's the safety they got at the deadline. So it'll be interesting to see how they do. One of my big matchups I'm looking out for is Sauce versus Diggs. That's just going to be an excellent matchup. I'm really pumped up to see that. That's a big test for Sauce. But look, Sauce, every test he's had this season, he's passed. He shut down Jamar Chase, and he shut down Tyreek Hill, and he shut down Mark Andrews. You can make the argument 2 top 5 receivers and probably the top three tight end football. Top 2, you can make the argument too. Kittle, Kelsey, Andrews are probably the top 3. And Waller, if he could stay healthy, is kind of on the outside looking in at the top 3 more than the top 5. So he shut those guys down. Now he's tasked with Stephon Diggs, and by far the best quarterback the Jets have played all year. And that's what makes that Diggs combo so lethal, is because you got such a good quarterback throwing to Diggs that he can do some serious damage. For the Jets, look, here's the deal with the Jets. The biggest thing this game is it's going to be extremely tough, but it's going to be extremely tough. But this is a big game for this Jet team. And I'll tell you why. Not many times this year, so far this year, and it's been great, it's been a lot of roses and a lot of sunshine and a lot of positives around this Jet team the past 5 weeks. To start the year, the first 3 weeks were rough. The receipts comments, Wilson not even being able to play because of his knee, Flacco standing like a statue in the pocket, losing both games to start the year at home, You find a way to bounce back against Pittsburgh, and then you beat Miami, then you beat then you beat Green Bay, then you beat Denver. You lose last week. But there's been a lot of positives. And the Jets really haven't had to come back this year after a really tough loss, after a really crushing loss, and have to do it against a team like Buffalo. And that's why this is such a big test for this Jet team. Because look, this Jet team's 5-3. And they've beaten some solid teams. The 5 teams they've beaten are Cleveland, who, say what you want, but they beat Cincinnati the other night, and they crushed them. They beat Miami, and I don't want to hear that they're running back. I don't want to hear that they were playing Skylar Trash Thompson or however people want to say. I don't care. They still got weapons, and the Jets ran all over their defense. They beat Green Bay and Aaron Rodgers. They beat Denver. Since they beat Cleveland, Pittsburgh, Miami, Denver, Green Bay, or Green Bay, Denver, if you really want to go in order. Those are their 5 wins. And they've obviously had those wins consistently. So this is a huge, huge test for this New York Jets team where last week you went into the game, there was so much energy, so much hype, so much build-up to the game. Get in before it begins. All the players saying that they remember letting 50-plus on New England and them still taking shots deep late in the game. All that stuff, and you lose. And that was deflating. So this is a massive, massive test for a young New York Jets team that really this year, for the most part, hasn't had to face much adversity. Other than the first 3 weeks, and even then, it was kind of expected because Joe Flacco was at quarterback, they haven't had to face this type of adversity. You have an opportunity now to go out and make a statement against the best team in football. The Bills are the best team in football. Let's tell it like it is. They're the best team in football. I think they're better than Minnesota. I really do. They've got talent all over the place. They've got the best quarterback. They've got two lethal weapons at receiver. I mean, they're just a good team. We know what the Buffalo Bills are. I don't have to explain it. We all know. They're the odds-on favorite to win a Super Bowl for a reason. So the Jets got to come out in this game, and they got to start quick. They got to start quick because, again, you can't come out, and I keep saying this, you can't come out and continue to have these slow starts where it's a 3-and-out, and then you give the ball, defense, and then it's a 3-and-out, 3-and-out, 3-and-out. You can't let that happen because the defense is going to get worn down. This Bills team will wear down defenses. There's a reason this game, the over-under set at 46. There's a reason for it because you have to assume the Bills are probably automatically going to put up 23, 24 points. They're just that good. The Jets are going to have to find a way. If they want to win this game, it might have to be in shootout fashion. So it starts up front. It starts with Zach Wilson. He's got to make plays. He's got to make the quick and easy throws. He's got to. And he's got to stay in the pocket. Step up in the pocket. I don't want to watch, I don't want to see Zach Wilson. What I don't want to see is him step out of the pocket, roll to his left, roll to his right, and make a throw when he could have just stepped up. Right? Make the easy throws. The little throws here and there, the little 1-2 yard passes here and there. Right? Get the ball out quick. 5-yard slant across the middle. Get Elijah Moore involved. Get off to an early start. If you can get the crowd involved early and you can go down and score a touchdown to start, that's huge for a team. Because if you can get off to a start, if you can, again, best team in football we're playing here. This is also just mentally, confidence-wise. If the Jets can go down the field first drive and score a touchdown, the players, the coaching staff, you kind of think to yourself, man, we can play with the best guys in the league. We can compete with them. Doesn't mean you're going to win, but it means that, hey, we can fight with them. The last thing you want is to go fall down 14-0 and be like, man, we're not there yet. So I want to win. And that's the goal. And if you lose, you're always going to be disappointed. Because at the end of the day, all that matters is wins and losses. But at least, can the Jets at least be competitive in this game? At least. Last year against the Bills, they got blown out, and then the final week of the season, they lost. Year prior, they lost both games except the final year. Or year prior, 2020, they lost both games. 2019, they split. 2018, I think they lost both. Bills have had our number over the past couple years. Go out and make a statement at home. So I'm going to take the Bills because I just think they're the better. I think they're going to win. I hope I'm wrong. The least I ask is for the Jets to be competitive. That's the least. Just please find a way to be competitive. And I mean competitive Go into the fourth quarter with a shot to win the game. Right? Go into the fourth quarter. What I don't want is a 21-3 game at halftime. Bills come out at half, score touchdown, 28-3, game's over. Don't let that happen, because that's happened a lot over the past couple years against the Bills. Don't let it happen. Be competitive. Go into halftime, tie game. You go into halftime, tie game, 13-13, boom, you got yourself a ball game. And if you have an opportunity to come out of the half and you get the football to start, go down there and score. Take a lead. Go into the final quarter tied up. Or go into the final quarter down a touchdown with the ball. Go into the fourth down a touchdown with the ball and be able to score and tie it up. Be competitive. Have a chance. Less than 5 minutes to go. Have a chance where if you make a stop on defense, you get the ball back and you can go take a lead. That's all I'm asking. Keep this game within 10 points. Don't let it get to a 13, 14, 15-plus point margin, because then it's a blowout at that point. Keep it close. That's the least I ask. At least that's what I want to see. Least. Obviously, I want to see a win, but at least keep it competitive. Please. You keep it competitive. Look, if you lose 35-31 in a shootout and you lose the game, obviously you're going to be disappointed, but you can at least walk away from the game saying, look, we fought with the odds-on favorite to win the Super Bowl. We fought with the best quarterback in football. We matched up against the best receiver in football. We lost by 4. We lost, but we were competitive, and we competed. And at the end of the day, that's where we're at right now with the Jets, where when you're trying to prove yourself, when you're trying to set the, change the narrative, it's games like this that are big. So, obviously you want the win, but keep it close. That's also what I ask. Keep it close, right? Compete. So I'm going to take the Bills. My heart wants to say it's going to be a close game and the Jets are going to win. My gut tells me I'm going to take the Bills 28. I'll take the Bills 31-17. I think they'll pull away a little bit more late. I could see the Jets. I could see the Jets give. I truly believe that I think this team might. I could see the Jets, and I seriously mean this. And I do actually feel this way. I'm not just saying this. Like, my gut kind of tells me that I could see the Jets coming out and making like a stand early. Whether that's a 3-and-out against, whether that's, Buffalo gets the ball, stop them for a 3-and-out, you go down and maybe get a field goal and take an early lead. Because I just think this Jet team might be a little bit frustrated after last week. I could also see Zach Wilson maybe coming out and wanting to make a statement early on and maybe making a couple throws and getting downfield and scoring early. I could see that, but at the end of the day, again, talk about talent. I just think the Jets are talented, but the Bills are the best team in football. And then they just match up better. So I'm going to take Buffalo 31-17. I think they cover the 11. I'll take the over on the over-under 46, and I think the Bills get the win. Obviously, I hope I'm wrong here, and I hope the Jets pull out the victory at home. That would be just phenomenal, but we'll see. We'll see how it all plays out. So Bills-Jets, looking forward to it. 1 Eastern CBS at MetLife on Sunday. Weather looks phenomenal for the game as well, so should be good. Looking forward to it. All right, so that's what I got for the NFL game picks. Now we go to fantasy football. Big week again for fantasy football in a lot of my leagues. I'll break it down. So one of my leagues I'm 4-4. The other one I'm 3-5, so it's a big game there. The other one I'm 3-5. 2 leagues I'm 3-5 in. 1 league I'm 2-6 in, and the other league I'm 4-4 in. But the 1 league I'm 3-5 in, I was 1-5. I'm on a 2-game win streak, and right now, last night, I had 47 points. Goddard got me 24. Miles Sanders got me 15. Philly defense got me 8. So I have a 60% chance to win now. And if I win this, 4-5, which would be really, really pretty big. So this week in fantasy, look, it obviously is looking like Keenan Allen's going to be out again. The latest updates on him was he wasn't spotted at the open portion of Friday's practice. He's been limited and kind of out this week. So it just doesn't look like he'll be back. He was back. He was out. He was playing against Seattle. Keenan Allen's missed a lot of time this year. He really has. He's barely played. He's played 2 games this season. As crazy as it might sound, that's crazy. It feels like he's played a lot more, but he's played 2 games. He played against the Raiders week 1 and then played week 7. And now he's out yet again here week 9. So he's been really injury prone. He hasn't played much at all. And he looks like he'll be out again. So at this point, I'm sure a lot of people have already found their long-term replacement. In one of my leagues, I put Miles Sanders in at flex. D-Hop was a huge acquisition. I'm going with Devontae Adams, Terry McLaurin, and DeAndre Hopkins as my as kind of my three-headed monster there. My other league with him being out, I put in Devontae Smith and Boyd at the flex. Smith got 4 points last night, which wasn't great. But a guy like that, if you want to put Boyd at receiver, and if you're in a deeper league, Elaire's a risky play if you're going to want to go with a 2 tight end set. Although if you have Waller, you might have to watch out for him being out. I have Hayden Hurst on my bench, just making sure if he's if he's out again. A guy like a McCole Harmon, if you're looking at waivers, is always an interesting option. Go down the list, and even a guy like if you wanted to plug in a guy like a Romeo Dobbs against a really weak Lions defense and secondary specifically, you could plug him in at the flex spot as a possibility. Especially, I'm sure Rodgers this week I like a lot. Dak Prescott's on a bye. I like Rodgers a lot this week, and I'll tell you why. Because it's the Lions defense, and he's dominated Lions in his career. The Lions defense is not very good at all. They've got a real good team, or they've got not a real good team. They got a really solid offense. They actually do. Like, their offense can go out and score some points, but they don't. Their defense stinks. As a matter of fact, what are they? 31st in the league. So I like Rodgers this week actually, and I like a lot of Packers players. I like Aaron Jones, and I like Joshua Dobbs, or not Joshua Dobbs. Jeez, Romeo Dobbs. If you need a guy to step up. Because it's a weak defense and it's a weak secondary. So, all those different options. Miles Sanders, obviously. A.J. Dillon, Aaron Jones, possible flex options. Michael Carter now being the number one. Thielen, too, could be an option. Devin Singletary could be plugged in at the flex if you want to go Boyd more at the receiver spot, or receiver at receiver, go running back at flex. Could also be an option. Rondale Moore coming off a big week last week. Actually, it's funny. Big week last week. He's played 5 weeks this season. 3 of the 5, he's had double-digit points. 1, he put up 23. So it's been an interesting year for him. Actually, pretty successful start to the season. So Rondale Moore could obviously be an option as well. Jacoby Myers, another one against an Indianapolis team where they got a good D, but their offense isn't terrible. So you'd assume Mac Jones. I try to gear away from Jacoby Myers just because Mac Jones has struggled. Good defense in Indy. I think it's going to be a lower-scoring game. But if you need it, like, if you're going Romeo Dobbs or Jacoby Myers, I'm taking Romeo Dobbs. Jacoby Myers, I think, would be my last resort. Unless if your entire bench is on a bye week, although you could look at a guy like a McCole Harmon via waiver. So, this week with a lot of injuries, it could definitely be a deeper week. People are obviously feeling the effects of Jamar Chase, feeling the effects of Keenan Allen. And, with Devontae Smith, the big-name receiver like him already going, a lot of people could be a little shorter at the receiver spot if they didn't play Devontae Smith, or if he's already played, he's another guy off your bench. So I'm actually playing Rondale Moore in one of my leagues that Keenan Allen's out, because Sutton, Chubb, Prescott, Pollard all on buys. Keenan Allen's the other guy on my bench, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and Hayden Hurst. If Darren Waller's out this week, if he's out again this week, right now he's listed as questionable for Sunday's game, as he practiced limited fashion this week. So Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, practiced limited. We'll see if he plays. He played against Kansas City prior to the bye, didn't get any points, and he's been out ever since. Playing against Jacksonville again this week. So if he's out, again, Hayden Hurst could be an option. If you a lot of people I know already plugged in Dallas Goedert. If Waller's in, maybe you go 2 tight end set them, because Goddard played well. It all should be interesting. So we'll see how it all plays out. By the way, one of my leagues, with Dak being out, I picked up Marcus Mariota. And I like Marcus Mariota. I'm going to take Marcus Mariota this week in one of my leagues. Other leagues, I'm going Rodgers, and Rodgers in all my other leagues this week. All right. So that's what I got for fantasy football. As I mentioned, Nets, Wizards tonight in D.C., the nation's capital. And Knicks, Sixers tonight in Philly. So good amount of New York basketball. Both New York hockey teams are off tonight. Islanders are off, and the Rangers are off. Islanders will be back, I believe, tomorrow. They'll play the Red Wings, and then the Rangers will welcome the Red Wings on Sunday. So, still a good weekend for hockey. Just tonight, it is a little bit of a slower moving day. You do have Avalanche Blue Jackets on now, but other than that, Sabres Hurricanes later tonight. Baseball, again, will resume this weekend. By Sunday night, we'll have a winner. Game 6, and if needed, Game 7 will be Saturday, Sunday. And obviously a lot of good college football on as well this weekend. You got Clemson on the road against Notre Dame. which should be a good one. Washington, Oregon State should be a fun one. We got good one should be Oklahoma State, Kansas. That should be a lot of fun. The biggest game of the weekend. So you have LSU, Alabama's good. Texas, Kansas State's pretty good. Wake Forest, NC State. Couple good games. But by far the biggest game of the weekend, and really you can make the argument one of the bigger games past couple years in college football, is number 1 Tennessee versus number 3 Georgia. Tennessee 8-0, Georgia 8-0. Georgia's 8.5-point favorites for this game. Pretty big favorites. Over-under set at 65. Tomorrow, 3:30 p.m. Eastern on CBS. It's a big game. Massive, massive game for playoff implications. SEC play. Massive game. The get-in price for this game was actually higher than the get-in price for the Philly at Citizens Bank Park at the World Series. The get-in price must be like lowest $1,000. That's how big this game is. So I actually like Tennessee in the game. I'm going to take Tennessee on the road. I could see Georgia winning and Kirby Smart and the more experienced just team in general with, big games like this. But look, Tennessee knocked off Alabama, and they've shown continued signs of just a dominant team. Now, Georgia is home. They do have that advantage. So it should be interesting. That game's going to be a lot of fun. I'm really good weekend of college football. A really good weekend of college football. As these weeks get closer and closer to the playoffs, these games mean that much more because with the season nearing its end, teams have less and less amount of time to prove themselves. That's why these games are so important coming up. So Tennessee, Georgia, without a doubt, the best game so far this season. That will be tomorrow. Looking forward to that. And obviously baseball, hockey, basketball as well, and NFL on Sunday. Looking forward to it. So enjoy your weekend. You know the drill. I'll be back at it on Monday, recapping it all. Should be another great weekend of sports. Enjoy it. I'll have, just to kind of keep you updated on podcasts, I'll probably have a Bubbs Talking Baseball podcast up this weekend. And I'll also record my In the Trenches with Gangrene Jets versus Bills preview tomorrow. And I'll get that up tomorrow. So that should be good. And, exciting weekend. So as always, enjoy your weekend. I will see you all back here on Monday. Hope you enjoyed it. And thanks for watching.